Okay. Let's buy a car using the public project process. It's a mouthful. Um, Before I start talking about cars, I want to just specify a few things. Firstly, this is going to be based on my experience with the public projects I've been involved in, both as a consultant and in the public sector. Second, I'm going to simplify things a lot. This is a lightning talk. Public projects is a big topic, and if I would cover it all, it would take hours. Finally, I know absolutely nothing about cars. In fact, I don't even have a driving license. But I figured that'll make me about as qualified as a lot of people who run public projects. Okay, so first question we need to ask is, how do you start a public project? So let's look at what goes into it. And I'm going to here focus on three main parts. But as I said earlier, there's a lot more to it. The first step is usually gathering insights, which is usually just talking to stakeholders, either internally or externally, figuring out their needs and wants. Second part being defining the scope or defining requirements, to be more specific. Because depending on what kind of contract or project it is, this step is what will shape what options you'll have moving forward. The third part is evaluating the options, because the public projects, you have to go through a tender, and the options you get will be based on your requirements. And I say make decision about the options, but you, in the public project, there's very strict rules on how you make that decision. But we're going to get back to that. So let's start buying a car with the first step, gathering insight. And what would be our stakeholders in this scenario? Well, if you're alone, you might just be your own stakeholder. That would make the process very easy. But let's say for the sake of argument that you're not alone. You might have other people around you. Maybe you have a partner. They might be a stakeholder. They probably want to use the car. If you have kids, that would be a stakeholder. They're going to probably need a ride here and there every now and then. Maybe your friends want to have a say in what you drive. Maybe you have a cat or a dog. They probably need to be taken somewhere every now and then. So let's see. These are our stakeholders. That's a good amount of stakeholders for now. Let's ask them what they would need for a car. And you might get a response like this. It's a bit unhelpful. Some of them are very specific or very detailed. Some of them are intelligible. Some of them are impossible. So let's just forget about our stakeholders for now. This is just silly. I don't know much about cars, but I've seen a car. I can probably define some requirements on my own. Should be simple, right? Some simple requirements like getting from point A to point B. That's pretty much a car. I need it to work all year around, because I plan on using it all year. Easy. And able to carry luggage and groceries, because if I already have a bike, I need something to carry a bit more. That looks about it. I think should be able to find a car using that. Let's see what we can get with just those requirements, because, yeah, that defines a car. Let's already just at the evaluation step, just 5 minutes in. This should be really easy. When you evaluate in public projects, you need to take into account a few things. You need to take into the upfront cost, maintenance cost, and evaluate the requirements. Usually you split this up into absolute and evaluation requirements. Since we only have those 3 absolute requirements, we don't have to think about that too much. So let's see what kind of responses we can get to this tender. Well, it's a bit more than just cars, and this would probably keep going with every kind of transport that fit those options. Almost every single one. Well, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. If it includes every mode of transport, it'll include every mode of car too. I can probably just pick the car I want either way, right? Well, it's a public project and we don't have evaluation requirements. So the only option to decide here we have is actually the price. We can only pick on price, so congratulations on your new car. I think maybe we made some mistakes here. Maybe we went too vague in our requirements. But how would I specify our requirements more without having any knowledge of cars at all? Well, it's easy. I get expert help. An expert can help us with technical, domain knowledge, process knowledge, practical experience they might have. It's probably the most common role we as a developer would have in the public project as an expert in our domain. Ideally, we would have this knowledge internally, but in our case, in this scenario, none of my family are car mechanics. So as in so many other public projects, we probably need some external help. So maybe we'll contact someone who's either a car mechanic or working in a car shop who has the knowledge we need. And let's assume they have all this knowledge, but in reality, this might be multiple people or multiple companies you bring in to help you in the process. So let's refine our absolute requirements with the help of our expert. Our expert might make some suggestions like the car should be refueled or recharged quickly and easily. It has lights, brakes, basic safety features, sounds good to me. Probably a good thing for a car to have. Can operate legally in traffic, sounds like an important one to have. And that probably brings in a whole lot of other requirements by itself. Yeah, you get how it goes. They will keep adding more requirements until we have a good list of solid requirements. Probably even more in a real project, but for our car, I think we're settled for now. But our expert might also help us with our stakeholders from before that we choose to ignore because it was not very helpful. But with the right domain knowledge and the right know-how, you might be able to fish out even more from these quotes than what they actually say. If you have the right knowledge, you might be able to translate some of these statements into actual requirements, actual evaluation requirements that you can use moving forward. So let's toss this into. Now, let's finally get a proper comparison of options and buy us a car. Yeah? Let's see what kind of options we'll get. Well, first thing's good. It's a car. But then nothing else. Unfortunate. What happened here? Well, I think maybe we did the opposite of what we did earlier. We ended up going too narrow with our requirements. It seems like one of our absolute requirements has disqualified every other car brand but one. And it turns out to be this one. The car wash mode seems to be very specific to Teslas. So having this requirement, we faced the opposite problem from before. So how could our mechanic fail us like this? They're an expert after all. Well, maybe our expert is working in a Tesla car shop. And they only worked on Teslas. So they might have assumed innocently that this is a normal feature in every car without realizing that it might not be so. And I think this is very common for us developers too. If you're very narrowly focused on one domain, you might think that's probably how it works everywhere else. And it also might not be as innocent if this mechanic works in a car dealership selling Teslas. They might have an interest in guiding us towards buying a Tesla as well to make more money. But let's give the mechanic benefit of the doubt, and it should be easy enough to fix. We'll just remove that requirement. And now we're going to finally compare options once again. This time, All car brands should be on the table. So let's see. Well, the Tesla is still on the table. That's a good option. Oh, another car. Great. Another car. Perfect. Oh, an engine. Well, I think we're going to have to talk about custom-made solutions versus buying off the shelf. Because custom-made solutions, like an engine might not be able to answer many of our absolute requirements, maybe not even any of them alone, but it allows the company that sells us the engine to sell you a specific, perfect solution to your requirements. Because only your imagination, or your budget more likely, can set a limit to what they can build. What you need is not just to buy a car, instead you need to buy an engine and let us build the perfect car around it for you. This is I'm paraphrasing, but it's a real quote I've heard from a public project that made me think. I've never heard of anyone purchasing a car this way. If anyone has first bought an engine and then hired mechanics to build their car, I'd be very interested to hear from you later about your experience with that. But it's very common when it comes to software. We build custom solutions all the time. I think this might be because software probably has a lot more custom requirements than a car would have. There's less road regulations and less standardization when it comes to software. I think another big part is that for us developers, building custom features is fun. You get to be creative and create something. And if you're a consultant selling solutions, making a highly custom solution might even give you a repeat gig. If you created the feature, you're the perfect expert to keep maintaining it as well. So we have to make sure, we have to think of what actual custom features we need. And I suspect for this car, I don't need it to be submergible or flying or anything crazy. And we have to think of how much extra maintenance it'll need based on the custom features, because every custom feature adds extra maintenance. And I've also heard maintenance is no issue, since your consultancy partner will handle it for you. Which is great, it's a good sentiment, but from our company's perspective, any extra maintenance we pay, even if we pay the consultants or pay it internally. Okay, so I'm running out of time, and I still have no car. So let's just go through. The first question I probably should have started with, even before starting to talking about cars, and it's, do we need a car at all? Because I don't have a license. I live in the Oslo city center. I work in the city center. Having a car probably would just cause more headaches, finding parking, etc. So I think for my case, I'm just going to stick with public transport. Seems to be the most common off-the-shelf solution after all. Thank you.